So welcome, Julia. I'll start to introduce you for a short second as you're a full-time physio on the tour, traveling, I would say, mostly with the guys, at least recently. We're coming back to that, with whom you're traveling. You were a tennis player yourself when you were younger. That's what I know.
That's right, to be. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, but not in the professional area, and then got in.
Not that I didn't want to, but it just didn't work out.
Okay, so what was your highest rank then when you played?
Well, I didn't really have a ranking. So basically, I started like. You want me to talk a little bit about myself?
Sure. I mean, just for the short introduction. That was. I mean, I don't know much about you actually. Of course, like just about the basic information that I know, but not too much. But I'm happy if you just introduce yourself a little bit and tell.
I think this is also going to make a little bit of sense how I got into what I'm doing today and the job and
Perfect.
Working on tour and everything. So
Perfect.
I mean, let's start with when I was around the age of 11. I started to play tennis. It was nothing planned by by my parents or by me. We just moved from countryside where I was all the time outside playing all kinds of games with kids to a city where I knew nobody. I was just going to school, being in the apartment the whole day. I started to gain some weight, and then I was like, okay, like it's time to do a sport. And that's how I got into tennis, because the tennis club was like 5 minutes away from my house, so it was kind of easy. I was 11. And this is quite funny because usually when kids start to play tennis, they, I don't know, hit on their side of the court, or like in that. I was hitting the ball like through the to the other wall, but like literally directly to the wall. So I had to like gradually start going down and towards the court. But I don't know, like I was playing once, twice a week in the beginning, just to do something else. And I really liked it. And one day I told my mom, I would like to do it more individual, because I was in a group of 8 kids. Was not much happening, like you would hit from time to time. And I started to go 2 times a week alone. And then holidays, like summer holidays, I would go for 1 hour of tennis, but I would spend there like 4 or 5 hours just watching other people playing. Like the coach was sending me home, and it was like he couldn't get rid of me in a way. So I don't know, like even though and this is also funny, he used to call me wooden hand. So I had literally zero talent, zero feeling, like
wooden hand, like a wood, like a piece of wood.
Like a wood, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Like literally like that. So yeah, like I was how to say, like I didn't have any. I was not like a prospect or anything. Like sometimes with kids you can tell that they have something, like special. Yeah. I really liked the sport a lot.
Okay.
The problem started in a way when I started to play tournaments, because I had no idea how to deal with the pressure, and it was like completely different from what I was feeling during practices to what I was feeling during matches. So that was something really, in a way, tough for me, like until the day I stopped, which was when I was around 19, when I started college. I never managed to deal with that like in a good way. I like to try to overcome it in a way, or to use it in a good, because I think everybody, it doesn't matter the level, everybody feels the pressure, everybody feels I don't know how, like those nerves, but some are just better controlling it than others. And
like Holger Rune, or
exactly, that was impressive actually.
Yeah.
So when I started college, I stopped playing tennis. It was kind of the same time. But even though I didn't, like, I played some junior tournaments, I played some 15K, 25, like I played those Eddie Herf, Orange Bowl, but it was never, I don't know, I just, like the difference between practice and matches was way too big.
But you played Eddie Herr in Orange? You played Eddie Herr in Orange Balls? This is like the under 14 tournaments, or did you play
under 16? I played.
Under 16. Okay, I was like, if you play under 14s and you started with 11, I mean, something went wrong there.
No,
I mean, just
no,
like amazing. But okay, under 16 as well. These tournaments are there
just,
for sure.
just
Okay.
under 16, yeah.
Yeah, but still,
And
I mean,
actually-
these are very, very good tournaments and well known as like kind of the world championships and all the best coming together there. So good tournaments there, yeah. So,
Yeah, but probably I was a good draw there.
probably I was a good draw
I
there.
was a good draw, yes, for whoever played me. But
Okay.
even though I didn't, in a way, make it to any like good ranking or level, I still feel like it helped me a lot to grow up in a certain way, to mature, to like everything, like to just to expand my, you know, like everything from
Your horizon, yeah.
knowledge to horizon, yes, to just and also the amount of people that I met through tennis, and that's how I actually started to work in tennis, because of who I met along the way while playing. So
Very interesting. And then the college, you did the college in the States, or you were talking about college at home? Okay.
No, I went to college in Bucharest. I'm from Cluj, which is in Transylvania. Maybe everybody knows Transylvania because of Dracula, and also now because they have two great WTA events, one outdoor, one indoor, which
Yeah.
I'm very proud of.
That's true, in your hometown. Nice, very good.
Yeah, so I went to study in Bucharest, partially because I wanted to go away from my parents. Like just I wanted to be independent, you know, to live by myself and everything, and I had the chance, so I took it. And while I was playing, I had just small back problems, and that's how I met the one guy. His name is Gelu Cosma, who used to be the physio at the Romanian Tennis Federation. And when I started college, he opened his own private clinic in Bucharest. So 2-3 months into the college, I actually started to go there after classes to just spend time with him, with his colleagues and everybody, just to see how they work and learn, basically.
Okay.
And after the first year of college, I already started to work for him. Like I had, I don't know, hopefully my teachers won't watch this, but I had a paper from the Romanian Tennis Federation saying that I was still playing. So like this, they would give me 50% off from classes to be able to play tennis, you know, but I was actually working at tennis events and going to the clinic, so I wasn't lying for something bad.
Okay, got it. But what did you study then actually? What was the study that you studied?
Physiotherapy is the faculty of physiotherapy in Bucharest.
So you studied already physiotherapy, okay?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's because it's in a University of Sports, Education and Sports, you do a lot of extra stuff, I would say, at least in my opinion, and how I view physiotherapy and stuff. Like I had to learn how to play football, how to play handball, how to know the rules and the history and like all the regulations. So that was a bit too much for what I was studying, I think. So that's why I was happy that I could skip those and actually work on my field in a way, or towards my goal. So and through the same guy, I got a chance to do some 15K, some, for who doesn't know, like that's the first level of professional tournaments, let's say, like the 25s, then a few challenges we had in Romania. I got to be the physio for those. So all this through the college. And then the last one, which was in a way the biggest one for me through college, was to be physio at the ATP Bucharest. Like, you know how every tournament has the ATP physios, but then they also have to have the local physios. So I got to do that like 3 years in a row, and like that I met a lot of players. Like
okay, got it.
So this is how I kind of got to know people from the tour at first.
Okay, got it. So how old are you now? That was the first question that we forgot actually, so that people can put it more into perspective.
29 in a few days. So
29,
still 28.
20, so 28. Okay, 29 in a few days. Okay, good. Okay, so just people to understand, like kind of put it into the perspective, because that's how you got then more into the professional sport, like meeting some guys and girls there. As is throughout all your, of course, tennis playing career, you also met probably some Romanian players that you're good friends now, helping out there here and there. So then how was the next step then? Because was it always your kind of dream of being like a physio, like on the tour or working with tennis players, or you just made that and two things came together?
I cannot say that I had like a dream job or something. I just didn't see myself in one place, to say, like, you know. And when I started to understand what that means, like being, I don't know, working with a professional tennis player, and I don't know, like it just happened in a way. Because so my first player that I got to travel with was Tamira Pasek, which you also know, and I think
Sure.
we met while I was working with her, if I'm not mistaken. I cannot remember 100%, but at that
Australian
time,
Open 2020. I don't know which player you've been there with, but was Tamira there? Possibly.
No, I thought we met before, but
No.
no. Okay.
Remember the day, of course, like by heart. I mean, no, just
Okay.
kidding. No,
My bad.
it was in Australia, yeah. With Irina Bara, also top 100 player now. Finally, she made it a break into the top 100 some time
Not
ago,
yet.
and
No, she didn't.
she's not in the top 100 yet.
Unfortunately, not yet. No, she was
She-
104. And like, she was very
Oh,
close.
really? Okay, then I
Yeah.
thought maybe because she won a tournament, I was like, okay, now she should be top 100. Okay, almost top 100, but of course in doubles she made it already to a very far stage. But that was kind of the time when we've met. But
Yeah. So my
so
first
Tamira Pasek
player
was the first player. Yeah.
Tamira, yes, she was at that time coached by Andrei Pavel, who is an ex-tennis player, and he's Romanian and a friend of mine. So that's how I met, because she came to Romania. We worked a little bit there while I was in college, and while I was finishing college, she was looking for someone to travel with because she wanted to come back. She was coming back after an injury, so it was like, in a way, the perfect timing. And that's 2015, like August time, I started to travel with her. So
Okay.
that's how this life on tour started at first.
And then you
that-
traveled with her, being her physio. Then you met like other players and
Yes.
coaches, and that's how
I think once you are, in a way, out there, and I don't know, I'm also the kind of person that is pretty friendly, so I got to know a lot of people, and also because everybody kind of knew Tamira and Andrei, also by Andrei being
Yeah.
an very good tennis player. It was, you know, like they knew a lot of people, so like this, it was easy for me to meet others as well.
Yeah.
So I was with Tamira for a year, then she stopped playing. I mean, the idea was she had to have a small surgery for the foot, and the idea was to start again the beginning of next season. In the meantime, Alias Bedene got in contact because he knew that I'm traveling with her, so he was also looking for a physio. He asked me if I think that Tamira would be willing to share, you know, especially the combined events for sure, and then some weeks when I'm not with her, maybe to be with him, and like this. She said
Yeah.
yes. Then we agreed that from 2017, from the beginning of 17, that we will do this together. And then she ended up actually not coming back, not playing. So I started working with him. Then he was just sharing a coach with a doubles player, with Dominic Inglot, who is also a very good friend of mine now. So they were sharing me as well. So like this, I started to work with two of them, not with one.
Yeah, sharing the physio job.
Yes. Yeah. Then that was for a year with Alias. In the same year, they asked me if I want to be the Slovenian Davis Cup physio, because they were just restructuring the whole team and they needed someone. I said yes. So it was an easy yes. That was also something new for me. So for
Sure.
2.5 years I was their physio until again they restructured the team. So yeah, after the other player that I was working with is Robin Hasse. Again, while I was finishing with Alias and Tamira wanted to come back, so I was again with Tamira for a while and helping some Romanian players. Also, he asked me if I would be interested to work with him, because we knew each other since ATP Bucharest. Like when he was playing there, I worked with him a few times.
Okay.
Then we did a couple of weeks of trial in 2018, and then 2019 I did the whole year with him. At the end of 2019, I went to Bordighera, to Piatti Tennis Center, because I knew Dalibor Shirola and Claudio. Dalibor is a strength and conditioning, and Claudio is a osteopath. And I always liked the way I saw them working together at the tournament. Like they worked with Borna Choic, they worked with Raonic, they worked with a lot of good players. So I asked Dalibor if there would be an option for me to go and spend some time with them, because for me that's the best way to learn, you know, and to develop yourself, and to from someone that does it the best in the field, let's say. And also I'm looking, because I work in tennis and I think it's very specific, that I prefer to do something with someone from tennis more than, I don't know, like other sport that it's
Yeah, sure, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I was there for a week. It was great. He surprised me by asking me to work with some of their players as well while I was there, because I don't know, I went to spend time with them. I didn't expect that, but it worked out well, because at the end of the week he recommended me to Ivan Ljubicic, who, I don't know if he knew that he's looking for a physio or whatever. And then from there, instead of going home, I went directly to Prague for a week of preseason with one of Ivan's player, who is Zhizhen Zheng, and his coach and his fitness coach. They were there for the preseason because it was the week before Christmas. I went there. It was a great week. I went home for Christmas and everything, and I was kind of waiting. You know, I didn't know what's gonna happen exactly. Like Ivan had so many stuff. In a way, like he took a few days to reach back to me, which I understand. I didn't know if I should ask something or not. Anyway, I waited. Yeah. And then he asked me if I could go to Australia with the same player, with Zhizhen, and with Marta Kostyuk, he was also helping at the time. I said yes. I went to Australia, and after Australia, I started to work for him full time until today, basically. So it was with the players of the agency. Now, since a year and a couple of months, he opened an academy in Croatia. Yeah. So that's what I've been doing a lot since September last year, since we opened here, which I'm here right now. Also, okay. It's on a beautiful island in Croatia.
That's true. And I can agree.
Yeah, you can see that on my Instagram.
Yeah, no, I've never been to the academy actually, but I've been like 15 minutes or 20 minutes away from it. Actually, I didn't make it that time, but I will definitely do it one day. But yeah, but how did it work? Because for me as a tour coach, or for the coaches, it's always tough to kind of make contracts with the players. How does it work for the physios? Do you just, if someone asks you to go to a tournament, do you just do it as long as they want, and if they kick you out after 2 weeks, you're just gone, or do you have like contracts with the players before you went to Ljubicic?
I think it's very individual. I think it's from player to player, from maybe also from physio to physio, depending on maybe which stage of your life you are in. Yeah. For me, I was coming out of college, and it didn't matter, you know, like I said yes. Yes, exactly. Like, okay, 1 week, 2 weeks, 20 weeks, you know, in a row. Like I never thought about, like, for me, it was always the last thought, you know, like, you know, like it's gonna be a week or two, like, okay, like as much, if someone would ask me how many weeks you want to do, like, as many, you know.
Yeah, sure.
So I think it's very, like, it's different when you are maybe, I don't know, over a certain age, maybe you have family, maybe you have a clinic at home that you have to take care of, or it's like, I think it's very different. Like before Ivan, I did not have a contract with the players. I don't know if there are physios that are under contract, probably some of them, yes. But I think as long as, even if you have a contract, for me, as long as it works and both parties are happy, it's good. Even if there is a contract and I'm not happy, or the players is not happy, then what we're paying for the contract, everybody's gonna feel shit. So that's why I don't like.
Yeah, it's the same for the tennis coaches. The only problem, like for me or for in general, the tennis coaches, like yeah, if you commit to a player, then you have to leave other stuff behind, and then you quit like some other jobs. You're going with a player, and if he says after 2 months that he doesn't want to work with you anymore, then you cannot go back to what you have left behind, and then you're still hanging somewhere. And of course, that's kind of probably the same situation with you as a physio, but you have also probably some backup plans if it's not working out, probably.
Yeah, I think
very
that's
good.
Always a tricky part in working in tennis, that you cannot never be 100% sure of.
I mean, yeah, that's for sure. I mean, if you're a coach of Raducanu, you definitely need to have a backup plan as well. So, no, just I mean, some players, and that's actually also interesting. Some players, they're changing their team a lot, they're changing coaches a lot, and others, like, of course, I mean, with Roger and Jubicic, they've been working for so many years, Luti as well, and also some other guys that I know that just like for over years. I mean, Holger Rune the same. He's with his coach since he's like 12 years old. So let's see how long that will still go on. Now Murat Toglu steps in there. Let's see if he's gonna be the coach number one, or if he's just kind of supporting. But that's other topic that we don't want to go deep into. What I was thinking by asking you to come here is that I have a lot of questions, and of course putting a sticker out there to ask you questions about physioing, because there's so many things. I mean, I know most of it. I still have also some questions for myself. I will not tell you which of these questions are for myself, but I think there's a lot of people out there, especially the younger kids. They don't know what to really do, how important it is. So the first question is, tell us a normal practice day and a normal match day of you with a tennis pro. So you have Xi Zhenjiang, you're traveling to a tournament, and let's say it's a match day. What is your part in that day in his schedule? Let's say he plays a match. He plays a match at 12 o'clock.
How do you know it's at 12? If he's first, because otherwise you don't know the time.
That's actually true. That's a good point. For those who don't know, if he's playing like second or third match, you never know when he starts. It's a little bit tricky. So let's say the tournament starts at 12 and he's first match. So
that's the best way, the best part, I think. If you are first match, then you can plan very easily. Let's say if it's 12 and we're talking about Z, he will probably warm up around 10 to 10:30, because he likes to have some time in between to shower, get ready, maybe eat something. So I would say, depending on how far the court is, this is also something that we have to take in consideration. Sometimes for people that don't know, you can travel 10 minutes from the hotel to the courts, or sometimes in big cities it can take up to even an hour. Sometimes, like the worst cases, I would say easily some days are 1 hour in the car to go there. So depending on this, we plan the time when we leave the hotel. If he warms up at 10, and I'm talking about tennis, then he will start with the warm-up in the gym around 9:15, 9:30. Some days maybe we have to do something before his warm-up in the gym. Some days we don't have to. There are players that, for example, with Robin, when I was working with Hasse, it was always a small routine before he would start the warm-up. So just to check, the hips, to check the ankles, to check the shoulder, just few small stuff. Or with him, which he has an incredible body awareness, he will be able to tell me like, oh, today I feel this a little bit, like, can we work on this? And that's the ideal case, when the player is able to tell you. Okay, but not to go too much away from your question. Yeah, I would say he will have breakfast just before leaving, like he will take 15 minutes or so before leaving the hotel. We will leave, we will go to the course, he will warm up for 30 to 40 minutes. And at least then hit for half an hour just to warm up, and then get ready for the match. So let's say if from the hotel we have a 20 minutes drive, then we will leave 8:45 maybe, just in case that something happens.
Yeah.
Or 8:40.
So that is his plan for playing the match. But what is your part as a physio in that in that day or in that time?
My part, it's usually not much the day of the match, especially because he has his morning routine that he does as the warm-up that he does every day. Basically, maybe I can help him with the bands or like warming up the shoulders or something. But if he doesn't feel like he needs something from me, like I don't know, his let's say shoulder is stiff, or I don't know, he feels a little bit of pain somewhere. If he doesn't have this, then I'm just there, but not doing much. Like you know, I'm just kind of assisting or his warm up. Yeah,
picking up the balls
and preparing the drinks, you know, like before the match or like something like this. But actually, otherwise, it's not much that you do or that I do with him.
And then the match starts. Of course, he gets treatment from the physio through the match from the ATP. So you're not allowed to step on the court during the match. That is all regulated. And then what happens after the match?
After the match, depends a lot if it's a win or if it's a lose. If we keep on staying in the tournament or if we go away. So let's say it's a good day and he wins, then usually shower, taking a little bit of time, you know, like to cool down or something. He's not really the kind of person that likes to go and bike right after the match, or like he just usually likes to take a little bit of time to like cool down, but just like by, I don't know, being around, sitting or so in the locker room, then shower. And then we usually
How do you like that? Sorry to interrupt you. How do you like that if a player says he does not like to ride bike or jogging as a cool down, he just likes to chill and come down doing nothing?
I think especially when we're talking about the professional tennis players that have a certain age, they kind of know already what works for them. You know, like maybe scientifically or something, the physio would be like, oh no, it's better for you to bike. But then if I make him bike when he doesn't want to bike, sometimes I think maybe this can, you know, like interfere with, I don't know, with him, or like can make him not feel good about it. And then do I get out of there, you know, like if he feels that this is okay for him, it works for him, like, because also you have players that jump into the ice bath right after the match because that's what they believe it works best for them.
What do you think about the ice bath? Again,
I think it's very individual. If you feel that it works for you, it works for you. If you feel like it does, like for example, I take again Robin as an example, he will never ice, but that's him, you know, like you have players that, as I said, jump right into the ice bath after the match. So again, I'm really with everything. I'm always, even with the kids at the academy, I'm trying to make them realize what works best for them, depending on the day, depending on how they feel that day, depending on like to have this body awareness. I think it's the best, and in my opinion, at least.
For sure, but like, let's say a junior, I mean, a junior will never say from himself, oh, it feels great to go in an ice bath, I'm gonna do it. Of course, everyone says no, even the pros, they say, oh, that's so, I don't want to go there. So there must be someone saying, like the physio or the team saying, hey, this is good for you, this is good for the muscles, like that cold exposure, like tightens the veins, yeah, the blood circulation is faster, you cool down your heart rate, this is healthy for you, and then that's why they kind of do it. But you would, like, it's hard for me that to believe that you don't have any opinion about it, kind of, you know what I mean?
I have my opinion about icing in general, and I think it should be used way less than it actually is used.
Okay.
I think icing when a player has a problem, like icing right away, it's actually detrimental to the problem more than helping.
No, I'm talking about ice bath. I'm just talking about the ice bath.
As I said, like that's, I don't, I cannot say that I think it's, I mean, what I said is actually my opinion. If you feel like it works for you,
do it.
Yes. If not, not. For juniors, maybe, yes, it's important to try it with them in a way too. But again, while doing this, to try and explain them to realize how they feel after, you know, how they react to it, because for example, I don't like ice, I don't like cold. For example, like I feel much better if you give me something warm. So that's going into us, but for me help.
That's like for
But
all of us. I mean, I've never experienced like from the start, because I can tell you for myself, I also like I hated cold, and then I had a challenge with my podcast where I had to shower for 30 days, cold shower every morning, and ever since then I'm cold showering and I like the cold. I'm starting to like it more and more. I was never thinking that I would like it. I would never do it, but I just did it for 30 days. I really did like it, and I'm doing it till today. So it's tough because everyone says, oh, I don't like cold, but most of them like never really get into it or tried it. That's what I feel, what I think.
Yeah, maybe.
But the basic idea of let the player decide himself and let him have this self-awareness, I think it's a very important thing, also for parents out there, also for tennis coaches out there, to give more credits to the player himself, even if he does something that is not 100% correct or not 100% right in the way that we coaches or parents see it. But if he really feels that it helps him, then I would also like just let him do it, because it's just for his well-being, kind of, and it's profitable.
Try to educate them to to body awareness, and to know, for example, when something hurts, you know, like to be able to tell the difference between, oh, I tore the muscle, or it's just I'm sore because I had a tougher workout than I usually do. Or because I don't know, I'm a little bit inflamed because for 5 days I didn't play tennis, so now it's normal to feel my shoulder a little bit when I started to play again, you know. So I think this is lacking quite a bit, and it's our responsibility, I think, in terms of like coaches, maybe parents less because they don't really know this stuff, but coaches, fitness coaches, physios, I think if we can implement this from a young age, it will help them long term.
The question is two things. The first thing is like that you said, the parents probably not much because they don't have much clue, but I think the parents are even the bigger problem, because the kids coming home saying, yeah, I have a little ankle injury, or I have a little pain in my ankle, and the parents say, yeah, no worries, like you play the tournament tomorrow, we have set the tournament and stuff. So they force sometimes the kids to do something and just ignore what they're saying, kind of. That's like the first thing. And the second thing is like, how do you teach, or how do you train and practice this self-awareness? Because that's, for me, for example, a question that I couldn't answer. Like, how do you train, let's say, a 14-year-old this self-awareness of the body?
That's a great question. So where I kind of start is when they actually have something, you know, like if they have an inflammation, or if they tore a muscle, or if even I go even further with this and give an example of a topic that is so much it's such a taboo. It's girls having a period. Even this, I'm trying to speak with the girls that we have at the academy, or in general if I work with a girl, because it changes so much throughout the month, and some like kids don't realize. When I started to have this conversation with the girls, and they were like, oh, actually yes, like how the mood changes, how the body changes, how like from one day to the other you feel like you weigh 5 kilos more. And by not speaking about this, or by the kids feel bad to tell the coach, oh, I have my period today and I cannot, you know, like I cannot move. And then the coach pushes, then the player feels bad that she cannot. So with all this by talking to them, I think, and by maybe like I think just saying, you know, like this is what you have now, this is how you feel. Like try to remember this when you next time when you have a problem, if it's similar or if it's you know, totally different. Or I think by this, because all kids will have issues. If you show me a kid that plays 1 year with no problem, I will, you know, like,
then he's afraid of the parents or the coach.
Or something. It's or either it's a genius, or because they play so much. I think also this is another problem, that they go into tennis since a very young age, and instead of playing a few sports, and they don't even play tennis, they have to I don't know, to perform tennis. Like, I feel like a lot of times parents take this word of playing away from tennis. It's called playing tennis, but for a lot of parents becomes a business, or I don't know, since they are 14, or especially now more and more, because all they see on TV is this glamour life the tennis players are living, but they don't see everything behind it. They don't see that the player spends 6 hours a day for a match to play a 2 hours match. And after he finishes the match, he has another 2-3 hours of press and other things that they have to do. They only see the prize money. Oh, he made so much money this week. And I think that's why they take away from the kids this joy of actually playing tennis.
Yeah, sure.
Going, and everybody is like, oh, I have to, like my kids to become next number one.
Yeah.
So, going back to the question, because again, I went far away from it. I think just...
Really?
Yeah, I think just on a daily basis, like when they have something to try and explain them what it is, to try to... Yeah, I think that's also by trying different stuff with them, like, I don't know, for example, from the gym, from the physio room, like for them to also even realize what works for them when they have a problem when they are in the academy, because they're gonna go to the tournament, they're gonna be alone. So then if they feel something, maybe there is something that they can do. If, I don't know, a muscle feels sore after a match, maybe they can roll a little bit on the ball or something, like little stuff like this at least. If they cannot do a treatment by themselves.
Yeah, I got it. Okay. Okay. But coming back to the question before the question, about one day of you when he's practicing at home. So I want to know, because I know, like, of course, people sometimes they get, as you say, mobilize their stuff. I mean, I know also some players, they go to the physios from a tournament just before the practices, mobilize a little bit. How does a practice day look like if she is at the academy and he has a full day of practice? What, like, I don't want to know his schedule, because we know that already. I want to know your schedule.
My schedule. Well, when I'm at the academy, it depends a lot of the number of players that are injured.
You're in Australia, and it's a day of practice. There's 4 days of practice, and it's the first, or let's say the second day of practice, full day of practice on a tournament, kind of. Where
let's say if we have a few days of practice, maybe it's easier like this. Let's say we have a few days of practice. I would look at what's most important for him to work on. For example, I give you an example, hips. Like we take the hips, like I would like him to have a little bit more range of motion, or more, let's say range of motion. So then I will, before he goes to do his warm-up stuff, for sure I will work a little bit with him on that. Then I will maybe even implement some exercises into his warm-up to help with that even more, like to help once you get the space, once you get the mobility, to also add some strength there to keep that mobility. Because if you just add the mobility but you don't actually strengthen those new ranges of motion, then and there's no connection with the CNS, then it will actually lose it, So this, or I would do some stuff with him first on the table, like mobilizing or certain things. Then I will go into the gym, add some stuff there, and then I will just be there with him for his routine. Then we go to practice. Usually a day of practice, when you have especially a few days in a row, it's with 2 practices. So let's say this will be the morning session. After the practice, we will go get lunch, like rest maybe a little bit, and then go again, another warm-up, another practice. And then at the end of the day, when practices are over, that's when actually my real work starts, in a way.
Okay.
Like,
that means
when everybody else is finished, I start. So
okay.
we would usually try to get treatments before dinner.
Okay.
Like to be, once we go to dinner, to be done with everything. So some days can be a 30 minutes treatment. Some days can be even a 2 hours treatment. Again, it's a lot depends on each day, on how he felt during the practices, how he feels after. Like I would maybe assess some stuff, but also I would get his feedback on how he feels and what he would like to work on. And then from there, we go. Basically, I do the treatment and yeah, and then the days it's over. Usually, it's finishing with dinner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's, everybody, I feel like, or at least like people outside of this tennis world, they think that you are only, when they see you traveling for tournaments, they think that it's, you know, like all like, oh, so good for you, like you always every week in another place, but actually a lot of times you don't see anything else than the hotel and the tennis courts, and then because the days are just long.
Yeah. I just made yeah. Go ahead.
What? If you have the first match, then it's easier. But once you start to have the third, fourth match of the day, then it's a full day at the club or full day work, I would say.
100%. I just made a post on Instagram just some days ago where I said like people saying always, yeah, you're traveling to so many places to see so many nice cities and stuff, and in 15 years that I'm working now with as a travel coach, it was one of the first times just some days ago in Monte Carlo where I had just a chance of spending like 3-4 days there, extra days, did paragliding, like went to the city, and now I can really tell you, okay, I was in Monte Carlo, and if you're going there, I can tell you, okay, there's nice restaurants here, this is the things you do, go there because there's a nice platform to have a nice view, this is like what you should not do and stuff. But most of the times, I mean, if you tell me 95% of the cities I was in, you going there and you tell me, hey Yannick, you were there at the tournament, how is it, like where should I said, I don't know, I can tell you the hotel was good, the tournament courts were shit, and the airport is half an hour away from the hotel. That's like the information I can give you. Probably the physio is it's more or less the same. So
it's pretty much the same.
Yeah,
but then also I'm not only complaining, because we also get like to have good times, or to have like you get days that you see, so it's really, but it's way less than people think, let's put it that way. And that is maybe 100%. For us it's even a little bit more than it is for players, and this is, I don't know how many people realize, because maybe at the end of the day we do take an extra hour or two to go to the city or go for a drink with a colleague or something, but the player cannot afford this. Like while they are in tournament, I had so many like the best example for it's with Alias, with Bedene. We were in Budapest and he played final from qualis, which was an unbelievable tournament. He finished the match, we had 15 minutes to do everything, like a few pictures, get ready and leave to the airport, because we were flying to Istanbul for the next tournament. Like sometimes they don't even if you win the tournament, you don't even get the time to enjoy properly and to celebrate, because there is next week, and the tennis season, it's so long. Like
that is true. Compared to the other sports, they have definitely a very, very long season. But let's go to the question, because we have been talking already quite a lot, and I've say it again.
What was the question? I forgot.
No, I said let's go to the questions of people that were asking questions. That's what I said. So the first question is the question that I've sent to you before the stream. Someone asked me about like lower back pain, that he has what was it called? It says the thoracic spine blockade with radiating pain and shortness of breath. I cannot say much about that. Maybe you have a little more clue.
First time you said lower back, and then you said thoracic. So is it the lower back pain, or is thoracic, or is the question that you sent me and it was about the thoracic rotation restriction?
Exactly, the one that I sent you about. I mean, as I said, like some people said about something about lower pain, but this guy, and I think L4 and L5. Do you have the same L4, L5?
Wait, L4, F5 is lower back.
It's lower back, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So which one we go about?
The thoracic.
The thoracic. Okay, so when you send me this question, I also ask you if it's a restriction in rotation, or if it's a restriction for, because you also have like extension flexion and you also have lateral flexion. So this is a question to his question, but I mean I must say it's very, very tough to say, you know, like if you don't see the person. Okay, I have a restriction out of these 6 movements. In which one? Let's say, I guess maybe it's rotation, or maybe it's extension. I don't know. Like if he's attending this, maybe he can send you another message to say which one.
Maybe he can. Yeah. But that's what I said already too, because I got a lot of questions also on Instagram, and I told the people, hey, with your question, she will probably not be. Like, she cannot be too precise because she's not there. She cannot feel you. She cannot ask you like a certain question, this and that. And just by saying, I have lower back pain, what can I do? I mean, let's answer that question for the people. If someone comes up and says, hey, Julia, I have lower back pain, because most of us are suffering from lower back pain.
My first, advice to people with lower back pain, which will always help and never do damage or never be a detrimental, is breathing. Try to work on your breathing because of the everyday stress, because of the way that we sit around all the time. Most of us have problems with breathing. We don't realize, but we actually don't breathe properly. Most of us breathe in the upper part of the chest when we should use more our diaphragm. We should expand more the stomach, and when you breathe in, you should feel your belly coming out. You should feel a little bit the rib cage expanding, both in front and in the back. But most of the time is this, this is the breathing. And then from there, this can even add to this lower back problems. Plus the everyday job, we sit from the moment we wake up, almost we sit to have breakfast. We sit at not us, we don't sit at work, luckily. But in general, most of the people sit at work, sit at lunch, sit in the car to go home and to work. So I think that's also a very big problem. If I would have to say again something general, maybe that will work for someone, to try and do the opposite of their their daily. So for example, if you sit in this position, when you try to move also the opposite of it, what I mean? If you sit position all day like this, then try to move a little bit more
So I need to sit like this now because I'm trying to sit straight regularly.
No, are you?
No, I'm trying to sit straight. This streaming job is kind of.
You sit, but then move from time to time.
Yeah, I'm putting sometimes
of sitting.
Yeah, I'm moving my legs sometimes under my under my, it's not under my ass, but under a little bit a yoga seat kind of position. So I'm changing legs here and there. But as I said, the streaming is something I do sometimes. I'm happy that I can travel and also be a tennis coach and running around and also play tennis myself. So, but with the breathing, it's a very interesting topic because I had I had a specialist for back pain in my stream already, and she was telling me, because I have sometimes lower back pain, and she was telling me, hey Yannick, you're breathing a lot to your mouth and you should breathe much more to your nose. And also because I'm having pain when I wake up, just the first 5 minutes when I wake up, I have a little bit of stiffness and pain, and then the whole day nothing, till I go to bed, nothing, and just the next morning again. So she said,
maybe your bed is also a little bit too soft.
Actually, it's interesting because if I sleep in different beds, I have more pain. We're sleeping always in different beds. So actually,
I know from different players, they can tell right away when the bed is soft, because then the morning they wake up with lower back pain. It's incredible.
With more back pain, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting. I have my pillow with me, always the same pillow, that I have the same kind of routine. But the mattress, of course, I couldn't take my mattress. If I could, I would, but because the hotel rooms are so different.
This is also another thing that people don't realize about tennis players, that every week almost of the year they sleep in another bed. They sleep. Maybe some travel like you with their pillows, but all the rest is different every week, which also it's from. Also the time zones, the climates, the weather and everything, but also the bed.
That is true. So
I think
yeah.
to go back to this, especially lower back problems and even thoracic, for general people, like now I'm not talking about tennis players and when they train this much, but for general people, any kind of activity and exercises that activates the muscles around and gets a little bit of tonus going will help. Like I'm not gonna, like, I don't know, I can give an example of a dead bug or like, you know, but it's tough to give, like I don't generalize on to say this exercise will work for everybody, but I think in general, because they sit so much on a daily basis, just working a little bit the core, you know, like activating the muscles around will always help. Okay, again, if there's a bigger problem, is there is a disc herniation or is there, then that needs more attention and more like a plan in a way, a rehab plan. But if it's just a pain because as a consequence of the daily habits, moving and activating the muscles around will always help.
Okay, perfect. So now coming to the questions that I got throughout the, as I said, Instagram stickers and also here in the chat. The first question is about the best recovery after a match or a practice. So what would you recommend? You talked a little bit about it, but can you recommend like general?
Number one recovery, it's sleep, in my opinion. You can do whatever recovery in the world, but if you don't sleep well, I think you will not recover the same. I think sleep is very important. Then for sure you can help a lot with the nutrition. I like to give an example. If you eat a lot of sugar, your inflammation in the body is going to be way more and it will take longer to recover than if you don't. So sleep, nutrition. Then again, can it be ice bath? If it works for you, yes, it can be ice bath. From my experience with tennis players, it's a lot of times just a matter of doing massage, like a deep tissue or just lighter. It depends. Again, sometimes it's a matter of preference. Like some players like it a little bit more deep. Some players like it a little bit like less. So that can be stretching. Can be a combination of the two, for example. Then you have all these tools that you can use. You have like the massage guns, maybe sometimes just for a change in the routine, you know, like or sometimes we even use the massage gun a little bit before going for a warm-up, just again, or just to give a little bit of input to the body. What else? Again, if we are only talking now about recovery, we're not talking about rehabbing from an injury, I guess.
Yeah. Of course.
What else? Like, we have a device. It's called Mark Pro. Maybe your listeners or our listeners can look into it a little bit, and I think it can be useful even for people that are not athletes. It's basically, maybe you know Compex. Oh, I think I'm losing you.
No.
Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you, yes.
Or it's the problem from me?
I hear you perfectly.
Now you're back. No, I lost you for
hours.
Some time. So it's basically electrostimulation. But they say that the way they time the electrodes, it's even better than Compex, and that it helps a lot with the recovery. Basically, what happens when you have now I give an example. When you have an injury, like the best thing to do after an injury is to decongest the area, to get the blood flow going, because the only way to get rid of the bad waste there is through the lymphatic system, which lymphatic system is passive, so you need to help it with some activity. So either doing like exercises, activating the muscles in and around the area, or like by either can it be isometric against your resistance, or using this device which basically activates the muscle itself. So that's also something that we use. You can even use it at the end of the day to just flush a little bit the muscle, you know, like just to like help a little bit, like relax it even more, I would say.
Yeah. Okay.
These are my, I would say, like, that's the priority: sleep, nutrition, then the help from the physio. Can it be, again, massage? Can it be stretching? Can it be a combination of, can it be ice? Sometimes maybe an ice massage when you only use the ice a little bit, or
sounds good. I like that one.
Or some people, they only also like the contrast between doing like a sauna for a little bit and then
what do you think about this hot cold routine after like a muscle soreness or a minor injury?
I would say it does feel good. Like, what
I know it does feel good, but would you recommend that, or?
Again, I'm gonna come with my boring answer. If it works for you, do it. If you feel like it works for you, do it.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
I do like it, and I do, but again, like, that's why I'm very, I don't know, sensitive to this recommended to, like, I cannot tell you for sure it's gonna work 100%, you know? Like,
yeah, for sure.
Your muscle is sore, do this, and it's gonna be 100% to more, you know?
Okay.
Like, that's why I'm a little bit with, like, this works for you. Yes.
So then you try.
When I work with a player, we kind of figure out together, I would say, like, what works for the player and what doesn't, you know, like what he likes and what doesn't.
Because
if he already knows, it's great, but
that will be my next question, because then I'm also a very good physio. If someone has injury and he's asking me like, what should I do now? I have a soreness here. I said, do an ice bath if it's good
now
for you.
Here we were just talking about recovery after like a long match, or we're not talking about if they have, I don't know, like a muscle strain, or if they have a inflamed tendon or like this. We were just talking about the right. That's what I understood. Like, because also we're not gonna use ice bath when someone has a muscle strain.
That's not good, no. I mean, that's also interesting for people to know that what you say, that icing is not always good. That's all interesting for all the people out there. If you twist your ankle, for example, I see it also regularly. The first thing is that people, of course, put off the shoe and ice for like an hour, and then like the longer the ice, the better it is. And that changed a lot with the how to say, with the with the physios and the doctors coming in and understanding what does the ice like cools down everything. I mean, ice is good for stopping the how to say, the swelling.
The swelling, yes, but also even the inflammation that happens when, for example, when you have the ankle sprain, it's needed for the recovery. You know, like it's a normal process that happens. That you twisted the ankle, you get some fluid there, a little bit of swelling, inflammation, but it's needed. If you put ice,
how long?
No, I'm not for ice at all. But that's
no
what I'm
ice.
No, in my opinion, no. Again, we can maybe have different opinions, but
no,
I
it's
would
interesting.
try to decongest the area right away, like by. Okay, let's say it also depends a lot on how severe it is. If it's like what happens to poor Zverev when he like tore the ligaments, then it's different because that needs a surgery. But if it's a mild ankle sprain and the ligaments are intact or just a little bit sprained, then that's different. Like, I would, in my opinion, no ice at all. What I do, we had quite a few cases even at the academy. Like, I would try to work on the area right away. Like, first by just manually try to work the tissues around and even a little bit on the area where is the swelling and the problem is, then activate with isometrics right away, because with isometrics you don't risk anything. For who doesn't know, an isometric contraction is like the muscle produces a force or like a contraction, but the muscle doesn't elongate or shortens. Like we have eccentric contraction, which is when the muscle elongates. You have a concentric contraction when the muscle shortens, but the isometrics, you don't change the length of the muscle, so you cannot create more damage, you know, but in the same time you activate the area and you activate the blood flow in the area, and you accelerate this process of getting rid of the bad fluid. If you ice, you even risk to damage also the good cells around it if you ice it for too long. You know, that's another, I think, risk that you put, like, it's unnecessary, in my opinion. Again, there will be, because it's this tricky part where people say like, oh, but it's been done like this for years.
Yeah, I mean, this is always like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which part we have that. But these isometric contractions, you place these pods there, like with a battery. How does it work?
You can do it against your resistance. So you resist against someone's ankle.
Okay.
You know, like for example, this is an I push against me, but I don't move.
Okay, got it. Okay, okay.
But my muscles are working isometrically.
Got it.
That's the isometric, and you don't need any device. You can do it against your resistance.
Sure.
Even if you are with the kids at a tournament and something like this happens, you don't have like, I don't know, the devices that you have in a clinic. Let's
say someone twists in a practice, or my player twists his ankle on clay. Yes. You would tell him to sit on the bench, open the shoe.
Yes.
Maybe sit on the ground, put it high. Is that a thing that you agree on?
That's another. This is from this RICE protocol, like rest, ice, compress, elevation.
Yeah.
Elevated above the. No, I would just. This is my way of doing it. I'm not saying that is the best, but I see that this works, and also I've been listening to different people on the topic, and it's more and more towards this. Like no. Like why you would, because everything, the RICE, the elevation or compression or ice, like in a way you, maybe elevation not, but the rest, like you congest the area more when you have to actually decongest. So what I told you, I would start right away. Maybe on court it's not so easy to do, but whatever, when I guess he will not play.
He doesn't play anymore. No, what to do?
No, doesn't play anymore. I will start, as I said, with a little bit of manual therapy, just like literally around the area, and even on the area of the where there's a little bit of swelling. Gentle.
But massaging.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Again, there will be people that will say that I'm probably crazy, but this.
So
it works. I don't know, like they recover quite fast.
Actually, I've not seen that so far, but the idea of like seeing Chijin now twisting his ankle, and the first thing is you coming up there and massages his ankle, is kind of, I'm like, what is she doing?
Yes,
because that's not the approach that most
people would put ice. Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Like, again, I did say that it depends. Like you can see how it depends how serious it is.
Yeah, sure.
Like,
Yeah.
If you see that it's getting this big, then you go and check it out. You don't.
Yeah.
Massaging, you know.
And then what isometric stretches do you do?
Not isometric stretching, isometric contraction. It's not an
contraction.
Isometric stretch.
Yeah.
Yes. Like you can just start very basic. Like you have the foot in the position that foot usually stays, and then you ask the person to push against your resistance. But again, it can start slow. Again, it depends how bad or how mild the strain is. They don't have to push 100% of their strength. Just to get some contraction and just hold there. It can be for 10, 15 seconds. You can always double check with them. Is it getting more painful? Is it getting less? It stays the same, because also also this matters a little bit. But by doing this, like I had a girl here, she twisted the ankle, I think on Monday. Again, it was nothing very bad, just a little bit of swelling, but not much. She did have in the beginning pain while she was walking, but after the first treatment already, like there's no more pain when you walk. Okay, here at the academy I also have a few devices that I can use, and they help with the blood flow, like for example Tekar, which is electricity with heat, and like there are some devices that help even more with the speeding the recovery process. But the main thing is this, like to decongest the area and to get the blood flow going there. Like if
Yeah, I mean,
we put
that's
ice,
true.
we actually prolong the process of, you know, like decongesting the area, because like the icing is the opposite of decongesting the area and getting blood flow there. If you just ice there. And then if you compress it and you hold it up for a night or whatever, then it will take even longer. I know this is how it's been done for years, but
I mean, it's the same with stretching. I mean, people were statically stretching for so many years before they exercised. I mean, stretching probably still a little bit different now, because there's still like so many different theories about stretching, but probably the same with this. But
that's the problem. I think with everything there are so many theories, and
and studies and stuff.
People either and studies also, but also these studies. Tell me how many studies are made on the professional tennis players that it's in top 100? Zero, right? Probably, like you're not gonna have a study of 15 tennis players in top 100 for I don't know, ankle sprain, because they're not sure. Like and there's no chance that you can. And it's one thing for a normal person to recover when they do maybe therapy 3 times a week, and it's another thing for a player to recover when I do here with them 2 times a day if they have an injury, you know, like
sure,
or as much as needed, because you want to get them back as fast as possible. So also with these studies, I feel like it's very like you cannot just read a study and for this injury it takes this long to recover, because it's very particular from person to person. And also we have different pain, how to call it in English, you know, we feel pain differently. Like if maybe me and you have the same problem, you might be still playing tennis, I might have to stop, you know. So
sure,
this is another thing.
Pain perception. That's interesting. I mean, I knew a little bit of course about icing is not the best, but I was still till today I would more say icing is fine for the start, to just stop the swelling, but then don't do it too long. And the same with, of course, I've also like
what's too long, and what's too long, and what's okay, and what's too little, you know.
I mean, I would put it for, I don't know, like not more than like 2 minutes, for example. I would just put it for some time.
If you ask five people,
sure,
they will all tell you differently, you know.
100%. I remember I had the Tossi. Do you say the same in English? Tossi 3. Here with all the ruptures of my, I mean, I had the clavicula was coming out on my right shoulder, so I had this syndrome where I can put even can see it now. If I'm sitting like this, there you see there it is, like this small like mountain there. It's still my clavicula, a little bit higher. I ruptured all my ligaments there in the shoulder, and I had two kind of nails. They were drilling through here inside my clavicula. So, and then I had to hold my, of course, like for 3 months I was walking like this. But then they said, and that was about 10 years ago, they said, don't have it always like that, like move it. I mean, I was not allowed to make this movement because then the nails would break. But they said move it around, get like the activation there, because it helps for
muscle atrophy and everything.
Yeah, exactly, and the whole thing. So actually already like 10 years ago they were teaching me that, and as I of course studied sport and got also a lot of into the professional area and a lot of injuries, not with myself but with players and stuff. I had also that that brain change that I said, okay, if you're injured, to keep it like just for 3 months like that, or leave your ankle in an air cast thing for like 2 weeks and not move your leg is kind of the worst. But it's very interesting approach on how.
Sorry how this RISE protocol started, but I don't know if we have enough time for me to try and make it short, or
try and make it short. I mean, we extended already the time because it's great to talk to you, but keep it short, and then I'll do two more questions, then we wrap it up.
So in the 90s, 60 something, I think he was 62, one guy got his arm ripped off Then one doctor came with the idea to try and put it together, but because at that time there were no possibility of calling everyone come, they have to send for this doctor to send the person for the other doctor, and he came with the idea to put the rest of the arm into the ice to preserve it, which is great for death. And then they managed to do the surgery and everything, and the blood circulation restarted, so they saved the arm. They saved, it was a success. And then of course it was like an amazing thing because it was never done before. And then it started like this. So what did you do? We put ice, because they use the ice to keep the arm alive until they got everyone together. Then it was, I don't know, they put ice, then they use compression, then so this is how, long story short, how this icing thing started, and then for everything they started to use ice because this was an amazing thing that happened. Okay, the story is longer or more detailed, but that's how it kind of started.
Interesting. Okay. So I'm seeing myself already being on the court next time someone is on the clay court and rolling over his ankle, and then I'm like, no, we don't need ice, because the first thing is ice, go, and then running to the restaurant, getting that ice package and just put it there for the next 10 minutes, putting the feet up, and
me at 26, 27 trying to explain a parent that was like 50 something that icing is not good. It's a battle, but at least I'm trying. Maybe now with the age I will get more. It will be easier.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, there's so many other stuff. Like for me as a tennis coach in the same situation or same manner, to just try to teach them something different that they have done for the last 30, 40 years. It's almost impossible. Like for a stringer, if there's a stringer and he strings that way, to tell him, hey, that's wrong. But he says, yeah, but I'm doing it for 30 years. It's correct. No, you do it 30 years wrong. That's just hard to tell and hard to accept for most of the people. So, but I can 100% understand your point and your perspective on that. Getting back to one or two questions, because we don't have much more time, unfortunately. So, I mean, there was some of general questions, like some advice for neck or shoulder problems after tennis. I don't know if you can say something to that. Warm up better. Is warming up good? Is that good, or is that also old school?
It's for sure good, and I think that's what a lot of players that play tennis as a hobby, they don't do. They just go 2 times like this and they start playing. They come out of the car and they start playing. So for sure, warming up, it helps. Depending on their physical condition, probably adding some strength, it helps. And then if you play a lot or something, seeing someone to release the muscles around, it's even better. But my guess would be that their main or their first problem is that they are not, I don't want to say strong enough, but yes. It depends. It's either, it's usually that's the main problem, that they are not strong enough, I would say. Just adding some strength to those muscles. And if you see that, sometimes you get tired and see a therapist and help releasing a little bit, maybe some stretching, and that will for sure help. But also warming up.
Is important. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Another one. What is the best way? I have to translate it from German. What is the best way to prevent injuries especially in the youth age? What would we say is the most important to prevent the injuries?
Youth age. Okay, I think playing less.
Okay.
Even though a lot of parents won't like this, I don't think for a kid that is at the age of 10, 12, it makes sense to practice 5 hours a day. Maybe you can make it 2, 3, or I don't know, let's say, or make it less, but maybe if you how does, like I'm gonna get I think a lot of hate from from the parents.
No, not at all. I'm supporting you. No worries.
But, thanks. But a lot of times it can be more quality over quantity.
100%.
I think this is the biggest issue. Let kids play other sports, because in tennis they develop like it's one-sided sport, and their body grows in a way that it's not. It develops in a way that it's not healthy. Like, and it's so. It creates so many dysfunctions or so many unbalances.
Unbalances. Yeah, exactly. That's the word.
So by playing, just let me quick get my charger.
No worries.
Yeah, so I would definitely encourage young kids to play different sports also, just to move the body in different ways, to be able to throw a ball properly, like to kick a ball. When you have kids that you ask them to throw a ball and they look like they never throw a ball in their lives, this for me is not normal. I think they specialize
100%.
too much in one sport from too young. Another thing, pay more attention to the recovery, because I feel and I see around me that all the parents want tennis hours, want hours in the gym for the kids, but they never really think about recovery. They never think about taking the kid to just have a massage, to just, like sometimes just let him relax or do something different. Go for a little swim that the body relaxes in another way. But again, don't go swimming 2 hours.
What do you think about proteins? To take protein shake after the practice or after the match, also already when they're like 13, 14?
Here I cannot say like I'm an expert in this area and that I can recommend especially for the kids. Like I know for like older players, yes, they do this like after workout or even sometimes before. It's just protein intake. I don't think it's bad for kids, but I think someone that is specialized, it's on this, it's a better advisor.
Okay.
Than me.
How do you do it in your academy then?
How do I do?
Like the 14-year-old kids, do they take like protein shakes after?
If they need like we have a nutritionist. Like if they want this kind of advices, then they reach out to the nutritionist.
But you don't know if they like a 14-year-old guy, like for example the son of Ivan Ljubicic, like he was practicing also with us. Does he take some protein shakes?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay.
Okay, I don't think. I mean, it's like eating, especially if it's like a okay protein. Like it's like like you either take it from the shake or you eat a protein. Like I don't think it's bad, but I don't want to tell people, "Oh, give your kid protein," because it's not my
preference. Sure. I mean, of course, you can also take protein with the yogurt or with the
electrolytes during practice. Yeah, that's like all this stuff. Yes, they are fine, but then when parents decide that a kid should take something, they should ask someone. Because also depends on, I don't know how big they are, how like if it's a girl, if it's a guy, maybe they need a little bit more of this or that. So I think it's better to actually ask someone for this advice.
Okay, got it. Then stretching exercises for a back, because I have a guy, he's 14, maybe I'm going with this guy to the Orange Bowl, and he had just to retire because he has back pain and he could barely move. He had to retire 5-4 in the third set. He was leading and he just couldn't. He was 5-3 up, and then he tried to serve, but he couldn't, and then he retired on 5-4. And he asked him, he says, Yannick, I need some stretching exercises for my back. Ask her.
That stretching is what he needs. Did he try to see someone? How does he know that it's stretching what he needs?
It's more kind of, I mean, he had the same issues, let's say 3-4 months ago, that he has some back problems, that he had to retire as well, I think, or at least he couldn't go on. And now he says before the match he needs some more like stretching and warming up for the back, But
does he have any, like, did he check this lower back with someone? Like with?
I don't know if it's a lower back actually. I don't know if he checked it actually. I can't tell you.
Well, you should see into, because if it's something that it comes and goes sometimes, it's maybe he needs more strength on the core more than just stretching the lower back or stretching the back. For example, maybe his glutes are not working properly and then he's compensating from the lower back. You know, this is also something, because for example, when you just do a simple leg extension, if your glute doesn't work properly, then you compensate from the lower back, and then your lower back needs to work twice as much that if everything will work properly. So this is also something that can put extra stress on his lower back.
But
so
going away from what he might have, what is actually stretchings for the back? Like, what is the like? Is it just like rolling together, or what is like?
I mean,
what is...
lower back, I would say the easiest would be to feel some kind of stretches by laying on your back and trying to put both legs to your, like to bring both legs to your chest, or you can alternate, keep one straighten the other one, or you can also keep one leg straight, the other one bend, and then kind of like, you know, bring it towards the opposite side, like kind of like roll almost on the side. But again, all this, it's sometimes it can feel as a temporary relief, you know, but if the problem is deeper, then it won't solve the actual problem.
Sure.
It can also, what you said, like by bending over, you do feel a stretch in your back. But for a kid that plays this much tennis, I don't think this will be enough. You know, I think the problem is actually more than it. Maybe it needs more of an activation of the core before he plays tennis, and activation of the glutes before he plays, more than just stretching.
So what would you say, like activate, like if you say activating his glutes can help him or can maybe be the problem, like what is the exercise that you would say?
Activating the glutes will probably help him. Just a normal glute bridge, for example. But a controlled glute bridge, when you feel like you're coming up from
what,
your
a glute bridge?
Yes, so a glute bridge, I will try to explain. It's when you lay on your back.
Yes.
You bend your knees, so your feet are coming closer to your glutes.
Yes.
And then you lift your butt off the ground.
Okay, so bridge
Like
kind of.
Okay. Yes, like you don't know what a glute bridge is. Come on.
Yeah, no, I was never hearing. I know what it is, but I was never hearing actually a glute bridge, like the expression. I was never hearing it.
Okay. Yeah, so that, but also when you do this, if they, like a lot of people have a tendency to, especially when they get to the top of the bridge, let's say, to compensate from the lower back. Like they will push a little bit from the glutes, but then they will actually try to extend it even more, and they will go in the lower back. Like try to only control it and go only from the glutes when you do this, for example. And this can be done with both legs on the ground, or you can progress to a single leg glute bridge. So then you only do it on one leg.
Single leg glute bridge. That sounds perfect to me.
Google.
Yeah, okay.
And for people that have lower back pain and listen to us, this will probably help them in a way. Like, but again, don't extend from your lower back. Just try to feel the glutes when you go up.
Okay. So, and you would recommend that, like, just like how much, like do it like 10-15 times before the practices and before the matches?
Yeah, just include it into the warm-up routine, do 2 sets or so. I mean, again, this can be progressed. You can add a band, like if this is the problem, but at least try and see if it helps. You can do 10 reps, 15 reps.
Okay.
It's not like standardized, or you have to do this amount.
Yeah, I just wanted to add like as much as he feel comfortable with it. No, but it's,
whatever he thinks is good for you.
So if he asks me, I have to implement that. I have to implement that with my kids when they ask me some questions. I said, hey, just do some, and then like see, like if it starts hurting, or if it starts feeling too much, then it's too much. And if it's like 6 is too much for some, for the other one it's like 16, then he says it's fine.
Yes,
so
exactly. Then you know where your starting point is, and you know that you can progress. Like maybe today you feel like you can only do 6, but in a week you feel like you can do 10.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like this with everything, I think. Like whatever, like in the beginning when you start running, you run 10 minutes and you are dead. But if you do it on long run, then you will eventually be able to run 30 minutes or whatever your goal is.
Yeah, can understand. Okay, Julia. I mean, this is went like a long way. I was thinking maybe like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, asking some questions, but we went a long way. It's been already almost 1.5 hours, but great. I mean, a lot of talks, a lot of stuff that I learned as well, which I'm very grateful for and very thankful for. Thank you for all your time. I mean, of course, you're there in the hotel room, not with your family or like too many friends there, and maybe that gave us a chance that you have a little bit more time for us. Big thanks also, of course, for my viewers that hopefully appreciate. But I see in the chat they were liking.
Is it going okay or?
It's all good. It's all good. They asking some questions and everything was good. I mean, as I said, I implemented some questions here and there, and that was
something else. Ask
exactly. Go check her out on Instagram. I'll send the link of her Instagram right now in the chat. Give me a second. There you go. If I'm allowed to, Julia, of course.
No, it's too late.
It was not too late.
No, it's all good.
So check out her Instagram, give her a follow, and yeah, you can also text her a message. She will happily reply if you remind her where you come from. And yeah, one more time, thank you so much for the time. I'm trying to cut that video in. Say it again.
Thanks everyone for watching.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for watching. I'm trying to cut that video down to, I don't know, maybe half an hour, maybe having the most important stuff together, because of course, like 1.5 hour talk of us, I don't know how many people are really paying that long attention in nowadays where everything is full of distractions of everything. But yeah, that's gonna be my part, and then I'll upload a new video kind of very soon with shorter form. Yeah, hopefully we see us again somewhere. I'm at the moment I'm more with juniors around, so not the tournaments that you're traveling to, as Yannick retired. I'm not traveling at the moment with a ATP pro that I could meet you, but I'm pretty sure that we will somewhere meet us again. As I played with Yannick, I played Zheng in our China trip. I think it was 2018 or even 17.
I didn't know him at that time.
Yeah, and I remember it quite good that we played that wild card from China. Big guy, big head, and like massive
not
dude.
Not typical Chinese, huh? Not what you expected.
No. When you say you're playing exactly. How tall is he? How tall is your player?
193.
193? So 193. So guys, we played. Yeah, what you just said. We played a Chinese wildcard, and of course you check the results, but I've not seen him. And then he comes up and he looks like he's a warrior from, I don't know, from Sparta, from the movie. And you're like, okay, this is some different kind of Chinese person. But I mean, there's also Zhao Ming, the NBA player, who's like 2 meters and what, like 30 something, 20 something, one of the tallest ones. So anyway, thanks again one more time, Julia. Have a great evening. Enjoy whatever you're gonna do. Maybe taking dinner, because after the match there was not much time to eat something.
Not dinner in between for sure. But
yeah, the match, I still have to cool down from that match. And I predicted actually that Holger is gonna win the tournament, because before the quarterfinal, I mean, he's playing so well, so good. I was impressed, really impressed.
Unbelievable, yes.
Of his game style, but we'll see. It's gonna be interesting for next year.
It's unbelievable how he moves and hits the ball, but unbelievable how he stayed like so. Sorry, like calm in a way, like how he dealt with the pressure of this match. It's really
and especially throughout the week, because after Wawrinka told him at the net, hey, you need to behave, baby, and told him like big time, like that he should behave better on court. The press went all over him, and then he beat Hurkacz the next match, Rublev, then Alcaraz, then Aliassime, who was on a 16-0 run.
Maybe that helped him a little bit.
I mean, he behaved definitely better, and maybe he should send Wawrinka a message, say, hey, buddy, thank you very much for giving a good advice, because made me work better and win the tournament. So yeah, gotta be interesting the next year, what's going on there, because Djokovic will not, I think, win easily the slams as he did in past years, but that's what has to be seen.
Yeah, but what they did It's incredible. I think
What
we
they
got
did.
used the three of them.
Yeah, for sure,
Mole,
for sure.
Rafa, and Roger did. I think it's
But also
we got
interesting-
used to that, and I think now when we see, I don't know, Zverev or all these other players having like ups and downs, we are like, oh, they are like, so many times I hear people commenting somehow, oh, he's finished. Like, wow, if he loses, like, if one guy loses a few matches in a row, it doesn't mean that his career is finished. But because people got used to these three almost never losing a match, except when they were playing each other for so many years, that became normal. But I think that's normal.
But I'm really also interested in from today, if we go to the year in 20 years, what did Alcaraz, Rune, Aliassime maybe do? Is one of these guys, is there another big two coming up that Alcaraz wins kind of all the slams and there is just too good? Is Rune at some point, are they those two sharing like 40 slams in one decade, for example? Or is it really like it's Ruud here, it's Zverev there, then Medvedev has a great year, then it's Tsitsipas maybe coming up on clay, Thiem is maybe coming back, and we have like 4 different slam winners almost every year? Who knows? That's why I say it's going to be interesting what's going to happen, and of course it's gonna be a new area of tennis sport.
Yeah.
Julia, now I need to really kick you out. I don't want to, but I really need to.
Go for dinner. Okay, hi there.
Thank you very much one more time. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
I highly appreciate your time. See you very soon and talk to you